r/entitled parents M almost kills her child because she wanted him to ride a ride he wasn't allowed to. Tries to press assault charges against me. So I've been lurking for a bit and decided to share my app story. This is gonna be a long one. When I was 16, I worked at the amusement park in my city. It wasn't a big one, but it wasn't small either. Most of our rides were aimed towards elementary school aged children, though we had a few for the older kids as well. Anyways, I was a rides operator, and that day, I was assigned to a ride designed for older kids. We had to measure the kids, and they couldn't go on if they were under the height requirements no matter what, even if they had a parent with them, because it was a ride that only had a bar that went across your stomach, so someone too small could easily fall off. Entitled mother, who we'll call M, and her entitled brat, Eb, are in line, and I can already tell the kid is gonna be too short to ride without even having to measure him. He's pretty far back, so I know it's gonna be 1 or 2 runs before he makes it on. So after I'm done loading, I tell M that her kid is too short for the ride and that they should go try the smaller version of it on the other side of the park. She looks at me with the dirtiest stare ever and just says, "We are gonna wait here." Now I have to run my ride because I need to meet certain times, so I don't argue. Time goes by and she's finally at the start of the line. I measure her kid, and of course he's like 6 inches shorter than the height requirements. Me, "I'm sorry ma'am, but your child is too short to ride this ride. I would recommend going over to the smaller version near the entrance of the park though." M, "No, it's fine, I'm with him, I'll hold him." She tries to shove me out of the way, but I'm standing my ground. Me, "I'm really sorry ma'am, but we don't allow people under the height limit to ride this ride. The safeties we have on it just won't hold someone too small, and your kid could fall off." She then asks to speak to my manager. I get asked that quite a lot by EPs, so I give them a call and tell her to wait on the side while I load my ride. She gets very offended, saying that she shouldn't have to wait longer for her kid to ride this ride because I couldn't do my job, and at this point I just kinda ignore her and move on. Ride runs, my team lead gets there and talks with her. He tells her that he's really sorry, but that I'm right. Her child can't ride this ride. Now at this point Eb is throwing a tantrum, and I mean, he's rolling on the concrete like a piece of bacon in a frying pan. I'm trying my hardest not to laugh at this point. Anyways, my lead apologizes, offers her a skip the line ticket for the ride he's allowed to go on at the entrance, and leaves. Em is trying to calm down Eb and starts talking to him. He gets up, all smiling and happy, and stands next to the gates, watching me. Now I'm not thinking too much of this at this point, so I start loading my ride again, which has a significantly less busy line, and I have a couple of empty seats on it. As I'm doing my security checks and getting ready to run it, M taps me on the shoulder and thanks me for my help, which I found extremely odd. I turn around to tell her that it's really no problem, and she starts apologizing and telling me that she shouldn't have acted the way she did, and blah blah blah. I'm completely stunned, not really sure how to react, but I tell her it's no problem and to enjoy the rest of her day. I look back at my ride and realize that Eb isn't standing next to the fence anymore. I'm starting to get weird vibes. I look around for him and he's not anywhere to be seen. I look at Em again, who has her phone out with her camera pointing at the ride, and that's when I knew. I take my keys out the ride and start walking towards it. It's kind of a swing type of thing, so I couldn't see the back from where I was standing, but I knew damn well Eb had snuck on. Em starts panicking, asking me what I'm doing and why I'm not running the ride. I completely ignore her and walk to the back of the ride, and lo and behold, Eb is sitting there and almost shits himself when he sees me walking towards him. He didn't have the bar properly locked at all and would flown right out as soon as I started the ride. Now, I'm mad, and I mean mad. I mean I could gone to jail for manslaughter right here and there. I just look at him and very sternly tell him to get off my ride. He tells me he can't and he needs help, which is fair. I mean I don't even know how he managed to get on in the first place, but I grab him and put him down, and he starts sprinting towards his mom crying. As he's running, he trips and falls down on his face. When he gets up his nose is all bloody and his knees are skinned, which is when I knew I was completely and utterly fucked. Em starts screaming like a banshee at the sight. As I'm running towards the kid to make sure he's not dead and to help him up, she runs towards me, slaps me hard across the face and starts yelling for security. I'm absolutely and completely stunned at this point. Some security guards must have heard her screaming at the top of her lungs because they come running, and the exchange goes something like this. Security guard as SG. SG, what's going on here? M, this girl assaulted my son. She threw him off the ride onto the pavement. Me, excuse me, did she really want them to believe I just yeeted her child 10 feet away from where he was sitting? Eb, it's true. She punched me too. SG, do you want us to call the police? M, yes. You need to arrest her. She's mentally unstable. I'm just dumbfounded at this point. My lead gets to the ride and asks what the hell is going on, and I tell him everything that happened in between sobs. There's one thing M forgot to take into account though. There were like 15 people on the ride who saw everything. So they tell the police and the security guards and my lead and everyone else what happened, and M quickly realized her error as she just started running with her kid in tow as soon as she saw people asking the other guests questions. They caught her pretty quickly and I pressed assault charges against her. Needless to say, I handed in my resignation that same day. Edited because of some spelling errors.